Okay, so Matilotek began sometime during the 17th century. Same-sex relationships were common in male-dominated societies. Same-sex relationships were taboo, but so was piracy. Matala meant different things to different groups. Pirates didn't have to take part in Matalatage. The French sent prostitutes to pirates to try to deter the practice. Matalatage meant commitment, but not monogamy. Matalatage meant you inherited your partner's property when he died. Okay, famous trans poets. Dane Edidi. Of course, you're gonna have to buy it. Lee McCobe. Okay, I can read this one. The first time I uttered a prayer was in a glass-stained cathedral. I was kneeling long after the congregation was on its feet, dipped both hands into holy water, traced the Trinity across my chest, my tiny body drooping like a question mark all over the wooden pew. I asked Jesus to fix me, and when he did not answer, I befriended silence in the hopes that my sin would burn, and south my mouth would dissolve like sugar on tongue. But shame lingered as an aftertaste, and in an attempt to reintroduce me to sanctity, I probably pronounced it wrong. My mother told me of the miracle I was, said I could grow up to be anything I want. I decided to be a boy. It was cute. I had snapback toothless grin, used skinned knees as street cred, played hide and seek with what was left of my goal. I was it. The winner to a game the other kids couldn't play. I was the mystery of an anatomy, a question asked but not answered, tight-roping between awkward boy and apologetic girl. And when I turned 12, the boy face wasn't deemed cute anymore. It was met with nostalgic aunts who missed seeing my knees in the shadow of skirts, who reminded me that my kind of attitude would never bring a husband home, that I exist for heterosexual marriage and childbearing, and I swallowed their insults along with their slurs. Naturally, I did not come out of the closet. The kids at my school opened it without my permission, called me by a name I did not recognize, said lesbian. But I was more boy than girl, more Ken than Barbie. It had nothing to do with hating my body. I just love it enough to let it go. I treat it like a house, and when your house is falling apart, you do not evacuate. You make it comfortable enough to house all your insides. You make it pretty enough to invite guests over. You make the floorboards strong enough to stand on. My mother fears I have named myself after fading things. As she counts the echoes left behind by Maya Hall, Leila Alcorn, Blake Brockington, she fears that I'll die without a whisper, that I'll turn into what a shame conversations at the bus stop. She claims I have turned myself into a mausoleum, that I am a walking casket. News headlines have turned my identity into a spectacle. Bruce Jenner on everyone's lips, while the brutality of living in this body becomes an asterisk at the bottom of equality pages. No one ever thinks of us as human, because we are more ghost than flesh, because people fear that my gender expression is a trick that exists to be perverse, that it ensnares them without their consent, that my body is a feast for their eyes and hands, and once they have fed off my queer, they'll regurgitate all the parts they did not like. They'll put me back into the closet, hang me with all the other skeletons. I will be the best attraction. Can you see how easy it is to talk people into coffins, to misspell their names on gravestones, and people still wonder why there are boys rotting? They go away in high school hallways. They are afraid of becoming another hashtag in a second, afraid of classroom discussions becoming like Judgment Day. And now oncoming traffic is embracing more transgender children than parents. I wonder how long it will be before the trans suicide notes start to feel redundant. Before we realize that our bodies become lessons about sin, way before we learn how to love them, like God didn't save all this breath and mercy, like my what? You want applesauce with gravy? Yeah. I mean, I know. Yeah. Like my blood is not the wine that washed over Jesus' feet. My prayers are now getting stuck in my throat. Maybe I am finally fixed. Maybe I just don't care. Maybe God finally listened to my prayers. Okay. J. Jennifer Espinoza. Okay, I might not be able to read hers. Okay, K. Owen D. Barrett. Never mind. Trace Pearson. Okay, this is drones. A pigeon flies in an arcane spiral reminiscent of a more important bird to list on one's resume. We installed the screens to prevent disease. A resume is the involved house we remember to clean, hunkering beneath one's profile while dusting the near edge of the bookshelf of an in-step seam. I look back and it's not a pigeon, it's a whisk. A profile is an image of ill birds gathering at the cornice of a nearby building. We anticipate food, a nest, or a peek in the full-length pigeon mirror of others. Gradually, it becomes clear that for a while now, acid rain has been falling into our cup, a drop by drop which internally grows and wrinkles. We are becoming drones. We hear ourselves breaking the sound barrier overhead. We fear our best or worst quality, switching hats. In the light beneath the canteen sign, we glimpse the sheriff and the outlaw embracing, talking about us behind our horse in lush vocal slumback. To list is to enfold a new norm. That's what the outlaw spawns, an illustration of smoke on a defunct chimney, drone smoke. From the roofline's edge you can see the route where we first rode into town, greeted by gasps of closure. Unite the rats of the air. Okay, Trish Salah. Or maybe not. Sarah Woods. Sarah wrote a poem about dying. It was part of a sad book you would like. In it, Sarah was an old woman. Sarah was a baby, and no one took care of the baby. No one took care of the old woman. All of the letters in Sarah's poem were written carefully in the sad book, and she squinted at them like a cat nearly asleep. Sarah showed the poem to a man, and the man coughed out loud and said, "I used to be a baby." Sarah fevers are for dreaming. Everything Sarah had ever written was a prelude to something she hadn't written yet. Okay, Laika Ayaki. Or maybe not. Lilith Latini. Okay, to walk up the stairs through the door, I climbed with lactic legs and heaving chest. Before I became your muse, I was my own slowly stitching a disparate body together, retelling the story of how the pine barrens only grow by setting fire to their body. Each pine cone's tiered shell already embodies flame, ready to reach and open upon reflection. Red needles over the sandy soil, I told myself this story at the precipice of choosing glory burnt across my heart. I walked up the stairs, your jagged howl. I just made her mine. But who is that singing? Okay, lastly, Tyler Val. Okay, I'm gonna read Uterus. You Uterus, you left me hanging. Why would you do that? In the middle of every month, I get irritable, bloated, fatigued, emotional, achy all over, but I don't bleed. I'll never carry children, dead or living. I wouldn't if I'd been born with you, but you don't care about that, do you? You're just a bloodless reminder of where I came from and where I'm going. Okay, so that ends part one.